working. The chat part's not working. It's hot in here. Alright. Alright. Trying to make this work here. But I also got to tune today. Can't spend too much time gabbing, but I want to get this set up. Today, I think it's going to be snowflakes. I don't know. I was just thinking about some stuff that I wanted to share with you guys, and I don't mean it in like a political snowflake sense. I just mean it in some things that I had realized a while back, and I wanted to share that I think is pertinent. If I get for an engine was hurt, making the pulling the dyno, not without talking to the owner first and making sure it was good. You know, like if the goal was to break it more, sure. I mean, I've had engines that were hurt and we've done pulls on them, but you know, I was like, hey, this engine's messed up. You know, if we want to keep it together, we should probably not do stuff. You know, should not beat on it anymore, things like that. And then yeah, I guess it just depends on the owner, you know, what he wants to do. If he's like, fuck it, then fuck it. But at the same time, like, if I'm on the dyno and I'm doing a tune and I notice it's hurt, I stop immediately, shut it down, talk to the owner. If it's don't care about it, don't care about the condition of it, let's just rip it for S&Gs, then I'll do it. I don't give a fuck, you know, as long as it's, I mean, it's his money, right? And I'm never looking to spend somebody's money for them without their consent. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, I don't roll that way. So, but I mean, if they want it, if they want the carnage or they want to fuck around, then, you know, do it. Fuck around and find out, you know, but not that sense. Fuck around and find out what happens to the engine. I'm fine with that. You know? Like I said, it's their money, so it depends on what they want to do. If it's an engine that I built personally, I'm not doing it. No way. I won't. You know, if I fucked it up or in the build, I want to know what's wrong with it, know what I fucked up, be able to take it apart, investigate it, all that kind of stuff. I want to learn from my mistakes. I think that's my biggest thing, is that there's so many things in my life that have happened that have been shitty, and then things that have been good. But from the shitty stuff, I try not to hold any regrets if I was able to learn a good lesson out of it, you know. If I wasn't able to learn a good lesson out of it, oh man, then I screwed up, or it was just something that you just can't learn from, I guess. But I always try and tell myself that, you know what, I learned X, Y, or Z here, so I have no reason to have regrets. But there's some shit that's happened in my life that, you know, no way I could say I learned anything. Nothing beneficial, at least. You know, maybe that some people are freaking evil, and that's not a lesson that you necessarily want to learn all the time, because it makes you a grumpy old man like me. I blew one up, ignition cut, launch control once, stock EGN, 20G ethanol, rod through the block. Ooh, that's fun. Do you know the pull if you put rod through the block? No, of course not. So, I want to talk to you guys about road rage and political climates and all kinds of stuff, but the road rage is the intro to it. I don't get road rage from people that make mistakes, right? It's people who are assholes that piss me off, or inconsiderate, you know? So, like, you'll see me in a video, I'll be telling me to fucking go. It's like, well, fucking go. At the point that you're either too scared to go, you're inconvenienced everybody around you because you're just a freaking wimp. Alright, so I'm starting over on this car. Start with 20 psi. This is pump gas. starting over on it completely. Nate changed some stuff out, so I'm just gonna go down the list of tables from the top on the real times and then hit all the other stuff. I'll import a few from other stuff, but overall I'm just trying to start from scratch because he replaced a bunch of components and we had a bunch of issues with the car, and so we've been going back and forth with it so long that so much has happened to the tune that I don't know if I'll find something that that I may have done as a compensation for something else. And so I just want a fresh one to make sure that that I don't miss something. I don't think you guys can see the small window. I'm typing in the map notes. I think that the stream doesn't catch sub windows and stuff. But right now I'm just typing the modifications, you know, and all of that to it. Dude, I can imagine that the cleanup on Dyno would suck. That would definitely blow donkey balls. I've had some Dyno cleanups that were not entertaining, for sure. So here we go. If you guys look, here's something. If you guys can see my tune right here. This is not mine. This is the factory tune. It is 40 degrees right here. It's 40 degrees advanced. This is an attempt at Subaru. I mean, I say an attempt as if it's a failure. It's not. It works. This is a method of improving gas mileage or fuel economy by advancing the intake really far. So you see this load area here. This is in vacuum. This would be in cruise vacuum. Typically on a 2.5 liter, if you're at atmospheric pressure, usually right here at the 1.1 to 1.2 area at atmospheric pressure, down this lower RPM region. So this is usually like, you know, atmospheric pressure. Which is actually why I don't like this number here and why I will change that. But down here, we're in a vacuum area, and this 40 holds the intake valve, or opens the intake valve early, so that exhaust that's trying to leave the engine can get sucked into the intake manifold. So you suck some exhaust into the intake manifold, and then that reduces how much air charge you get. So exhaust valve shuts, you have more retained exhaust gas that sucks down. That exhaust mixes in with the charge. It warms the charge up. It increases atomization of the fuel as it enters the engine. But it also slows down the burn, which is one thing you have to keep in mind also. Slowing the burn because now you have all this non-combustible stuff mixed in with the combustible stuff. But what it does is it reduces torque overall. And you can add all the timing that you need to compensate for the burn speed, but overall your charge density is lower than it would be if it was all fresh, clean charge. What this does, it makes the engine produce less torque at that setting, which means you got to give it a little more throttle to hold the same speed, which sounds counterintuitive, but if I fill a bunch of exhaust gas in there with the throttle open, what I do then is, not open, I should say open a little bit more, and it reduces vacuum a little bit more. I reduce pumping losses. So if you think about the pistons sucking down on the back of a closed throttle body, and so if you were trying to suck against a closed throttle body, you can imagine that it would take more effort to do so. Oh, I think I choose a weird number, that's odd. It would definitely take more effort to do so, and that's too much. Let's go 20 here. And so you lose power. You end up spending energy drawing a piston down against a closed throttle body. So when you hear someone talk about pumping losses, that's what they're talking about. Pumping losses is the energy lost by, well, some of it is the energy lost trying to suck on the back of a closed throttle body. So I'm going to do a big old island in here. Now this is going to be excessive for a start, but this is where I'm going to start off because I'm going to tweak this as I go through the tune and see where it's at. I can actually compare it to the old tune and see where its AVCS used to be, because this old AVCS curve is doing pretty good for what we're doing here. It's going pretty good because it was already done for power before. What I had before? Oh, I carried a lot more before. I had less initial. That was a weird looking map. And then I had some there. Okay. Sometimes the car will surprise you with what it wants. It can be weird. It just will surprise you. Let's see. I blew my own GG20 with ignition cut launch control. Was expensive to listen. Yeah, ignition cuts. It's an effective launch control. It's also very effective at scattering parts. That's factory. This is the factory map I have in here right now. This is all factory stuff. So bone stock from factory, and then I'm going to import some things. But start from factory right now, and 1050X cob table here. I'm going to open up the cob injector profile data stuff, and I'm going to put what the hell? Oh, I'll put the data in the tune here. Like I said, everything I'm going to start. For everything, that just, in fact, I should be importing this, honestly. I should be importing this. I think it's 2765 or 2764 for that. Double check. Is that 64? Okay, it's not bad. So this is something I should be importing because it's a fixed thing. It isn't like something I could have gotten wrong or screwed with. Well, that's not true. I probably could have screwed with it because you absolutely can screw with the low pulse or small pulse adder stuff. Because one thing that people don't realize, that Injector Dynamics, while they give you this plug-and-play data, the injectors they supply you, they still fit within a range, right? There's still a few percent either direction. So you may find that you have to adjust these values a few percent in any direction. So if you have a car that just seems to be a smidge funny, at light loads, as injector pulse width drops, all of a sudden starts to lean out too much, don't be afraid to adjust the low pulse adder a little bit. It shouldn't take huge changes, but wow, max is 0.6 on that factory one, crazy. But yeah, you could do some changes to that table to get the car to behave properly. That is not outside the realm at all possibilities. Phone went off. I don't know if someone's texting me or if there's an alert or some sort. That's the business phone. Right. So this injector timing, I covered this last time, so I can talk about that today again. I'm going to tweak this wall wetting. So one spot here. I'm only going to do this one spot. I'm not going to do this one spot. I like that. I'm going to leave that all alone. Leave that all alone. Leave it to factory. This one's going to go up. These injectors, you always need to add a little more here. Now, I think I might talk about this. Why do you got to add a little bit of tip in, even though you got gigantic injectors? It's because these injectors are smashing into the port wall. They're not getting down the back of the valve as effectively as a stock injector that's got 12 perfectly atomized holes, right? So if I'm not spraying the fuel directly into the cylinder, it's not going directly into the cylinder, and that means that it's not contributing to the charge as much, so you need to add more of it. Fuel pressure dampers, are they necessary? I believe they do, yes, absolutely. What does it do on an OEM? It does the same thing it does in every car. It helps minimize pulsations in the rail that cause fuel flow stalls or pressure issues to the back of the injector. To the back of the injector. If you have like a GR, for example, you know all about what happens when the fuel stalls or pulsations affect the fuel pressure of the injector, because that's what the GR stumble is. Alright, so I got a friend. Been a friend for quite a few years. He's a good dude, motorhead, loves cars. just like me. We've driven cars, raced cars, and motorcycles and stuff together. We've goofed off, you know, over the years with all kinds of stuff. And what the heck happened? I could have swore I turned everything to stock. This feels like it's just not stock. Oh, it's stock. Okay. And he's a motorhead, right? And he, great friend, etc., etc., etc. Irrelevant for the conversation, that part, last part. Just a good friend. Anyways, loves fast cars, love building fast cars. Every time I go for a drive with him, I realize he's just not that good at it. He's not bad. He's not a bad driver by any means. He's just not a super skilled driver. And I think about that, and I'm like, well, here's this guy who's been involved in it for his whole life, and he can make things happen. You know what I mean? But overall, he drives with a little more fear and is not as smooth as I would anticipate somebody that's been involved in cars that long. And it just kind of made me realize that it doesn't matter how much somebody wants to do something or whatever. Some people just aren't good at it. And when you think about that, at least for me, when I think about that, it makes me more tolerant of the people on the road around me. Now, that being said, if you're an asshole, well, you can do something about that, right? You don't have to be a fucking asshole. So if you drive like an asshole, then you might trigger some fucking road rage at me. If you make a mistake, it could be because you're just not good at it. And while that sucks for the people around you, I don't want to, you know, flip out on somebody because they just aren't any good at it. I don't know if that makes any sense, if you're tracking what I'm saying. But some people just aren't good at driving, plain and simple. And so I try not to experience a lot of road rage with people who make a mistake, especially if it's not a mistake, you know, or like, oops, I did something, and they turn, they wave, and they apologize. Like, there's no reason to be mad at that person. People like turn and apologize. Oh man, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. And then the other guy's like, fuck you, and honking and trying to like drive the guy off the road and that kind of stuff. Like, that just doesn't. I mean, mistakes happen all the time. You know, everybody makes mistakes. I make mistakes. So I try not to have any road rage issues with people like that. But if you're an asshole, if we make eye contact and then you merge into my lane, just cut me off or something just to be a dick, then yeah, I'm going to be pissed off about it. That's a given. That's just a given, because then that person is just an asshole. And that's totally different. I hate assholes. People think I'm an asshole, so I guess I hate myself. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. So that train of thought led me to another train of thought. And that train of thought is about what the hell is going on in our country right now. Like, it's crazy, the stuff that's going on. And so much of it is based around fear. And it really is mind-blowing to me. And I started to think about it the other day that, you know, I feel like a lot of these people that have this weird view of rainbows and fucking palm trees everywhere, and, you know, everyone lives happily ever after and that there's no evil in the world, I feel like those people have never been exposed to it. I feel like maybe those people have never been exposed to the evil that exists, and they've never had anything bad happen in their life. Like, the worst thing that ever happened was the fucking Wi-Fi went out at Starbucks kind of stuff, you know? And so it makes me wonder if the reason that a lot of this stuff is happening is because life has just been too damn good for too long. Really, like, I feel like life in America has been too good for too long, and so these people don't understand what it's like to work really hard. They don't understand what type of humans are out there. You know, like, one thing that made me think about this is my brother-in-law, great dude, love the guy, huge heart, and everything. But he's kind of a pussy. He's kind of a pussy. He gets all butthurt over stupid shit, and he was complaining about some stuff on vacation one time, and I kind of lost my shit on him. I was a little mean. Probably meaner than I should have been. My wife gets mad at me because I'm mean to him sometimes. But I'm just trying to help him, like, you know. I love the guy, and I think he's hurting himself by not toughening up a little bit. But regardless of what I think, I was just trying to figure out, like, why is he so soft? Why is he harboring all these emotions? He was bitching about something they did when he was a kid, and it was dumb. It was just dumb. Like, yeah, it's welcome to being a child. That's the kind of stuff that happens, you know. It was like they would pull him down, put their feet in his face. And honestly, other than his mother passing when he was a teenager, I think that's the worst thing that's ever happened to him in life. And so he's not prepared for when harder things happen in life. And it's not his fault, you know, and I want to emphasize that. It's not his fault. He's just never been exposed to it. He's never been exposed to how fucking evil people can be. You know, unlike me, you know, my sister and I had some shit happen to us when we were growing up, let me tell you. And so we got a dose early on of the kind of things that humans are capable of doing. And in no way am I saying that, oh my God, my plight so bad, because I can guarantee you that I may have had the roughest childhood of anyone in this shop, maybe. Who knows? Maybe, right? But I guarantee you someone in this fucking city has had a rougher childhood than I did. And I guarantee you someone in this county has had a rougher childhood than them. And I guarantee you someone in this, you know, state had a rougher childhood than that person. There's always somebody that's had it worse. And so I never try and, you know, I try and understand that people just haven't had things happen to them that are rough or hard. And it's hard to try and educate them, the best way I could say it, you know, and help them understand that shit fucking happens in this world. Like, rough, terrible, horrible things. People murder people's children in front of them. You know, like the Duncan guy that beat the family to death with a hammer in front of the kids while they were tied up and shit. Like, that shit happens. Happens on our soil, happens in other countries, you know, in the Middle East. Extremists are kidnapping reporters, cutting their heads off, raping them, having them crawl around, make animal noises, and then cutting their heads off while they're still alive. Like, there's just disgusting, horrible, terrible things that happen in this world, and, you know, it's people that have had it too damn good for so long just can't grasp it, I think. And that's really a bummer, because those of us that have had it, that know that it exists, are trying to tell people, no, look, like, you really don't want these things to happen. This isn't as bad as you think it is. Or, you know, you're giving up your rights for safety, you know, because you're scared of this small inconvenience, you know, that, I don't know, or like right now, for example, this is the safest time in the world to be alive. The safest time in the world to be alive. And then a slight uptick in the number of deaths per capita due to COVID. Very slight uptick. The death rate is been the lowest it's ever been in the history of history. Like, as far as we've ever recorded anything, it is the safest time to be alive. And yet, media and the government and politicians would have you think that everything is so scary and everyone's out to get you, and you can't leave your home without fear of getting shot, or, you know, all sorts of stuff. And they've just got everyone paralyzed with fear and just handing away their rights, just giving them up, you know, for safety because they're scared. Oh my God. But the real fear mongers are these fucking politicians. You know, they're the ones that are scaring everybody. They're the ones that are spreading these lies. So I don't know if you see what I'm doing here. Sorry to change the subject real quick to tuning. Right now I'm doing closed loop stuff. Now you may have seen the open loop map. I put a bunch of stuff 14.7 that wasn't 14.7 before. I bumped it up to get it above the threshold, so that I can push the car to operate closed loop a little longer. A lot of people push the car to operate open loop sooner, and I try to do it closed loop longer, and it may turn out not work on this car, but the idea is as long as you're not too far in the boost, the 2 cylinder still has accurate range, and I can use it to target or to achieve the correct air-fuel ratios that I want on the car when I'm driving, and not just pop it in open loop, ruin fuel economy, and have a bunch of problems. So I'm trying that more aggressively in this car and see if I can make it behave and drive smoother in certain areas. So if you look at here in primary fueling, in this spot, in this higher load column before, I leaned it out. And at 1.6, I don't actually want it to be 14.7 AFRs. Like I don't want that. That's not my actual goal. But in this area now, if you go to the closed loop target, I have added fuel in the 1.6 column, so now you'll see it's 1.5 points lower, so it'd be 13.1 or whatever it was. Where did I start from? Whatever it was. Anyways, so now I'm using that to target the air fuel in that range. It wasn't done that aggressively on his last tune, but we're trying on this one. See if I can make it a little better for him. Right. Is my chat even working anymore? Is it here? Am I by myself? I don't know what's going on. I haven't seen a comment in here, so in a long time. Right. Is my chat even working anymore? Is it here? Am I by myself? Alright, there we go. Okay. Still working. I just bored everyone to death. That's fine. It's fine. So I guess the moral of the story is that the world is crazy out there, and there are people who will happily feed you fear to give them more power. And we're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing a lot of that right now. They're just feeding the public fear, feeding them all these agendas, trying to scare the shit out of them, and just so that they'll hand over the power. Like the Second Amendment, for example. Well, the government doesn't want you to have that. They don't want that. They want to get rid of that shit. I mean, Justin Trudeau, is it Justin? Is that that? Trudeau from Canada even said how much he admires China because they're able to just shut down or start up the economy, do whatever they want. If all their citizens had gun rights, he would not be able to get away with it.
He's a BRZ guy.
Hello, BRZ guy.
Yep. How you doing? He's got the misfire in the white seat.
Okay.
That we've never got it to misfire. Do you have any cards?
There should be some in the office.
Do you know where they're at?
In a box. Check my laptop case. Look in there, I don't know. But Chase usually has a box in there.
I didn't see any off the top of my head.
No? I might have like a really, really old one that's worn out in my pocket.
Yeah, because he was just, he's going to reach out to you to...
ECU tech?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's seen better days. Oh, that's alright. My email's on there though. Sweet.
That's the important part.
Shoot you an email? Yeah. Email's always the best thing about me because I've always buried in cars. Sounds good. I check my email multiple times a day, and then I can like glance at it and go, okay, and then in the back of my head I'm thinking about how to respond to whatever, and then you get a nice response back instead of calling me when I'm in the middle of something like 17, what? I don't know, purple. So something like that. That's the way to get hold of me, and then we talk about your car. I'll have them fill me in a little more on it other than supercharged.
Yeah,
that's all I know about.
Basics.
I'm Chad, by the way.
Chad?
Yep.
Dominic.
Good to meet you.
You too.
All right.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Alright, so TGV's open, TGV's closed. Now you can use these maps for TGVs. What's this say? Let's see, okay. If somebody has new lower intake manifolds, the OEM manufacturers already provided us with an ignition table for when they're open. And if you change their operational characteristics, then you will need to adjust the ignition advance in those areas. So I like to start with the table that they give us. That's the best way I can say it, I think. Everyone wants free handout. Yeah, lower intake manifold. It's a lower intake manifold. Everyone wants free handout, free rent, medical, food while you work to pay their way. I mean, I will say yes and no. And the reason I say that is a few things. One, nobody likes working. Let's just be honest. Nobody likes fucking working. Right? I mean, they might like their job in the world of having a job, right? But nobody wants to have to work, right? I enjoy tuning cars, and I enjoy my job overall. I love designing parts and all that kind of stuff. But nobody wants to have to do that stuff. So, free handouts, yeah, I mean, people, those that don't have a firm grasp on where money comes from in society, yeah, they're like, oh, it's free money. Like when Obama was getting elected and everyone was like, I'm getting me that Obama money. You know, like, what the fuck is Obama money? The dude isn't worth much, right? It's the government's money. It's the public's money. And I think, I don't know if it's lack of education or if it's lack of education or intentional brainwashing or what. But people and the government, I guess let's go like that. The government doesn't respect the taxpayers anymore. They don't respect the taxpayers. There was a time when you could watch politicians or TV shows and documentaries and they would say, yeah, we want to do this, but we know the taxpayers won't go for it. That doesn't happen anymore. Like, they don't give a fuck about what we think. Right? There is none of that going on right now. So somebody has either made all the politicians just not care about the public, or made them forget who's paying the bills. And unfortunately, the people paying the bills have forgot that they're the ones paying the bills. So they forget, and they don't realize that when you take money from the government or from a government program, it came from your neighbor. You know, your neighbor supplied some of the money for that program. And your other neighbor, and, you know, your grandma, and whoever's paying into their paying any taxes is going into that program. And I think people just forget about it. I think that they see the government blow all this cash, and they're like, well, I want some too. And I don't blame them, because one of the reasons I was fed up with the military when I was in it was watching the military waste taxpayer dollars. Holy shit, is it bad. I mean, I can't even tell you how bad it is. It's insane. It is, I mean, it is borderline insanity how much the military wastes taxpayer dollars. And the military has like the biggest budget of anything, and they just blow that shit. And it is very frustrating. Oh yeah, boost control. But yeah, I mean, if you didn't have to work and you could just play all day, wouldn't you? Like, there's so much of that. Fuck yeah, I'd play all day. I'd play with cars all day. Obviously, I don't know how I'm going to afford to pay for them, you know, that kind of stuff. But people live so moment to moment, they don't think beyond the immediate anymore. And people's pure and unadulterated ignorance. Yeah, I agree with that. I think it boils down to a few things, though. One, the destruction of the nuclear family, like Disney's trying to do, and the government's trying to do, and everything. I think that has a larger consequence that people realize. I think the erosion of morals is a huge factor. Like, there was a time when people did things because it was the right thing to do. But right now, it's not that way anymore. It's all about money. I'd say the focus in the world has become so heavy on money that money is the only thing worth worshiping. And the sacrifice of your morals for money is no longer looked down on. It's like, yeah, you do what you can to get paid. That kind of attitude. And that's sad. Honestly, that's really sad. But I think that has a lot to do with it. So my elevation here is 1392, or just under 13.9. My elevation, sorry. Barometric pressure here is like 13.4, 13.9 here. So I like to go to my barometric compensation here in these tables and zero out where I'm at, and then reference everything from there, from where I am. So if he goes down closer to sea level, I'm going to want to pull a little bit of duty cycle out of it because it's going to get boosted way easier than here. And then I'm going to leave that like it is. I'm just going to leave that alone like that. That's a good starting point. The Great Reset, yes. Yeah. The Great Reset is fucked, man. And what's crazy about it is they even say, they tell you on their website what they're doing, and people don't see the forest for the trees. They don't understand what they're really saying. When they say, you will own nothing and you will like it, will you? Will you like it? Do you want to own nothing? Do you want to rent everything that you touch? Do you want to have no assets? Be completely dependent on society and the government and everybody else? That's crazy. That's absolute crazy talk. And they straight out said that they're using COVID to crash the economy, to rebuild the economy, to support the Great Reset. And people are like, that sounds great. Who the fuck thinks that sounds great? I don't understand. I'm really confused with that. This has a IAT sensor in it. Is it GM or is it mine? Double check. GM IAT, not mine. Alright. So, let me compare that. Now, let me just get the file. Yeah, that Great Reset stuff is crazy. You know, I got a friend who's like, oh no, that's all bullshit. There's no way, they can't do all that. The government's not coordinated enough to pull this off and all that. I'm like, dude. We pull off this government, right? We pull off founding the United States. It happened. Like, people have the ability. What's that expression? Like, the greatest trick Satan ever played on mankind was convince them he didn't exist. I mean, I think that mentality that, you know, oh, well, they couldn't pull it off, I think that's perpetuated by the people that are pulling it off. I think they're trying to help that train of thinking, or that line of thinking, propagate so that people be like, oh, that's not really happening. There's no way that could happen. But I mean, not we, but our founding fathers, right? They created this place. So why couldn't somebody else pull that off? I don't know why they couldn't. All you need is the right people in the right position to do the right things, and for their goals, like they're doing it already. Ever tune a speed density car with IAT in the stock location? In the well, I mean, no. There's that wouldn't be speed density. That would be guess and pray, right? That's not how you tune speed density. That's not speed density at all. Speed density, it needs to know the temperature of the air in the intake manifold. It needs to know what the charge temperature is. Like, it has to be there. I mean, without that, you don't have a calculation for air mass. And if you have a calculation for air mass, you don't have engine management. You just don't. Speed density works on PV equals nRT. PV equals nRT. That's the ideal gas law. You got to have all those points. Otherwise, you don't have a calculation for air mass, and you can't do what you're trying to do. All right, so that's my base map. I think I got everything started. Injectors. Yep. IAT really good. Okay, so that is my new base map for this car. We're gonna do it. Luckily, it's CAN bus, thank God, so I'm not grabbing green connections to death all the time. Whoa, I just tuned into a deep conversation. Yeah, a little bit. Tuning and some conversation, bouncing back and forth pretty aggressively between the two. I was just trying to share some of my experiences and some of my perspective. I've done a lot of stuff, and I've done more in 40-something years than most people do their entire life. And I don't mean that as a brag. I just mean that I have just been around and done a lot of things. I like to do stuff. I try new things, and while some of it was voluntary, a lot of it wasn't. I lived in 12 houses before I graduated high school. My parents were divorced when I was really little, and I have had multiple step-parents on both sides. Some of them not good people, some of them great people, and the things that they have done to my parents or to us kids or whatever is really disturbing, honestly, in a lot of cases. But then I also joined the military, and I got to see our government and our military from a side that the civilians don't get to see. And a lot of it was very eye-opening. Very eye-opening. Alright, what you got? My car is tuned with MAF IAT speed density. Maybe something I should look into. Yeah, so you can do MAF and speed density, but the IAT needs to be right either in the intake manifold, which is kind of a rough spot if it's solid aluminum, or in the charge pipe right in front of the throttle body in an area that doesn't get a lot of heat soak. Because your charge temperature has to be accurate, and the further you are from that, the worse you're going to be. I mean, and as I've said to actually Anton in the chat, there isn't perfect modeling. There isn't, and you can only get so close. And that's why we have O2 sensors, to help out with things like that. So wow, that thing fired right up. I forgot that kills codes apparently, but fired right up. He's right pretty good. Thrall's a little dead. Okay. So there's no perfect modeling. There's going to be corrections to some degree. So you need to be as close as possible. Otherwise, there's no point in even doing it, right? Map table disabling this down. Well, okay. Sorry, I gotta do some changes here real quick. So if you have a MAF and no IAT post intercooler, you should fix that, and you should fix that soon. You definitely want to have all of that.
Is it fast?
I haven't even started it. I mean, I
What?
just started it. I haven't even. I'm starting from scratch because it's had so many problems over the years.
Your car is too?
What?
Oh, you just tuned the different car, yeah?
Yeah.
Two, 3 cars a day?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a bit, you know.
Well, we can't do the camp today
Why?
because nobody has a puller, and I did not bring the one that I have.
Oh yeah. But you got close, right?
What?
You got close though, right?
Oh, yeah, it's all done. We got to pull the rockers off, and we got to pull the rock. Well, yeah, it's done. It's pretty much just swap the cam and assembly. Swap the cam, swap springs and assembly.
So, like O'Reilly's having a puller or nothing?
They brought a puller that's not the
wrong one.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, the LS1 special, you know
And
that.
nobody has a spring compressor either for LS.
Oh, well, luckily we have those.
What?
Luckily we have those. Do you have one?
I don't have a spring compressor.
Oh,
I
I do.
use yours, but
Yeah,
I told Lane you have it, so he's probably gonna ask you to use your stuff.
that's fine.
So,
That's fine.
what time are you coming here? Tomorrow.
I didn't plan on coming tomorrow.
Okay, good.
So tomorrow's my do other stuff day.
Okay, good.
Tomorrow's Thursday. So,
Well, I'm probably gonna head out soon.
all right, buddy.
So.
It's good seeing you for the
Yep.
period of time I got to see you.
Thing.
I'll try.
Will it be fast?
It's a block 380.
What?
It's been on the dyno before. He's had sensors degrade and fail and stuff. So
Oh, you fixed it?
yeah, he put new MAF in it,
Oh,
coils and O2 and that kind of stuff. So.
Oh, now you have to start from the beginning because it's all wrong?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah. That's all right. It's what it is. It'd be different if it was like a customer who was an asshole or something. You
Oh, he's a
know,
cool
that
guy?
kind of stuff. Yeah, he's nice. He's in there right now, actually.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right now, I'll
Okay.
head out in a minute.
See you, man. When do you want to take the AC out of my compressor?
What?
When do you want to drain my compressor?
Anytime. Well, if I'm here tomorrow, I mean this weekend and stuff,
Yeah, weekend's good.
I mean this weekend we can work with some of the crap too. Stuff. And then, yeah, so we'll see. Yeah. I mean, look, we can fit black car in the back. I mean, we can see if the front bar fits.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt it. Like, there's a reason there's 2 bars. You know, I mean, there's a reason they have 2 different
Yeah.
bars. And with the, I mean, I'm pretty sure that bend goes around the axle. Or to give
We'll
clearance
have
to
it
the
on a
axle.
lip a look.
Yeah,
We'll have it on a lip a look, maybe.
yeah.
So, but they do have. So I was right. They have 2 different ones. Yeah.
What?
I told you in the beginning before we took anything apart. I said, "You sure they're the same?" Because X drive is different. He said, "Yeah."
Oh, that's...
So click is.
I
from
no,
the
I misunderstood what you said. I thought what you said was that they only had sway bars for an X drive.
Yeah, I'm like, why is it only like they all say X drive? So I'm like, are they the same? Be like, oh yeah, they're the same. They're over the years and they're the same. So,
Gotcha.
but we didn't know, so it's cool.
Yeah, now we know.
And then, so yeah. I didn't talk to Chase, so you can talk to Mike. Make sure the transmission deal is all good. Make sure if I need to pay something, make sure it's not like $2 grand, because if it is, it's no point.
Right, yeah.
So,
that's way too much.
yeah. So like if he doesn't care, because he has no nothing. It'll be less downtime for him, and he can learn to drive it.
Oh yeah,
before the
it's gonna be
motor's
great
built.
for him. Yeah.
So yeah, let me talk to Chase.
Okay. Haven't had any issues. Street car, don't push hard. Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, you never know what you're gonna like. So you lose precision when you do that. You lose precision. You lose protection. Biggest protection being as heat soak sets in, as the intercooler gets hot and the charge temp goes up. Actually, you should look at I have a video called Charge Temp and Detonation, I think, or Knock tendency. It's a very good video, and where I explain and show you how much charge temperature affects ignition advance. And if you don't have an accurate charge temp reading, then it's very easy to have an engine that detonates too much and to break it, to hurt it. So, all right, so right now I started the car. We're in post-start. Look at this screen here. You'll see brake mix pressure is 13.63. I said between 4 and 9, so we're at 6 today. Battery voltage is good. Commanded fuel final, see that says 11.98, almost 12 to 1 AFR. The reason for that is because we're in post-start. So we're in post-start, and the ECU knows the oil sensor is not working, and so it adds extra fuel to prevent lean misfires from occurring. Now you'll see the O2 sensor starts to activate. The ratio now dropped from 14.7, where it sits in a warm-up. It's not actually 14.7. That's just in a warm-up. There was no input. So now you see here the negative correction coming in, and the commanded fuel starting to lean out. See that number going up from 11.9, now it's 13.8, moving up towards 14. It's going to go up towards whatever the closed loop target is supposed to be in the map, which is going to be between 14.4-ish or something like that. There we go. So post start is pretty much cleared at this point. O2 sensor is active. We're seeing a slight burning trim. I haven't felt a single thing in my butt. So everything has been completely smooth. There's been no hiccups, no issues, that kind of stuff. So that's good news. Everything's really nice. So you see we have about a 3% correction right now. I'm going to accelerate here. I got to change the dyno settings in the wrong spot. I got to change the license plate of the car because it's on the other guy's car. But before I do that, I'll put this on speed. I'm going to set the tach on the car. So I just want to set the tach on the dyno to match the tach in the vehicle here. Miller Knight asks, how much change on the tune if you change IAT to the charge pipe pre-throttle body? I don't know the answer to that. It depends on how it was tuned. Hopefully not much. The idea is that you're just giving it a more accurate reference for the temperature that it's seeing, so that the timing and fuel are more appropriate. Shit, what was it at? Was it 3600? Is that what it was? Let me do it again. So it shouldn't change the tune per se, unless the IAT at the sensor and your charge temp, like at idle and everything, were way different because of where the sensor's located or something like that. But what it will affect is your air fuels and timing when you're in boost. Yeah. And not in the sense that now it needs to be different, just that now it'll be able to protect the engine when the IATs go up, and it'll ensure that your air fuel ratios are more accurate when the IATs change and all of that. One of the biggest reasons the Subaru STI fails is there's no charge temperature compensation. It's only pre-turbo. So when the intercooler gets hot, the air temp stays hot, the timing never comes down, and you fucking blow a piston up. Ugh. green spot right there, trying to accelerate. That's a weird. That was weird. What the hell was that? Never experienced that before. What was that again? Right here. Where is it? Right here. Here we go. I'm gonna log this. This is bizarre. Right there. Misfire is really bad. Adds fuel, clears the misfire, goes away. That's really trippy. What is that going on? Huh. Commanded fuel final went to 19 in that spot. Why is it doing that? That is bizarre. Huh. I don't think that's evap related, but I'm going to turn off the evap really quick and see if that goes away. Because if it's evap related, then obviously I don't want to deal with that. But I need to check the evap system, see if there's an issue with it. That was really weird. But for commanded fuel to go that lean means that we're either in like an overrun, enleanment, fuel cut, or in a high amount of evap, purge flow, or somewhere in the tables is a lean target that's excessive lean right there, and I don't know where the hell that would be unless I screwed that up somewhere. That was really lean. I'm gonna turn off the evap real quick just to see if that's it, and that'll give me a place to troubleshoot. So right now I'm flashing the tune on here. The idea behind this. Flash successful. Yes, please. Alright, so that's, we're going to troubleshoot and see if that is why I had that weird hiccup there. If it is, then that means we got to figure out why we're not getting the evap flow the ECU thinks. So let me explain that. If you don't know how the evap system works, the idea is that one, the EPA and people, we don't want excessive fuel vapors going to the atmosphere. It's bad for the environment and it's bad for your fuel economy. So if we can keep the fuel tank at a slight vacuum, then we know we're not going to have fuel vapors going out into the atmosphere. What we do know is that fuel vapors are combustible. It's already as atomized as the fuel could possibly get because it's a vapor. So when the evap flow is initiated, the car will run rich.
Not dude.
Just tuning in and streaming. What's up?
Yeah, he's watching up there.
Okay.
When can I come and get that 3-drop puller?
Just kidding. What?
When can I come and get that 3-drop puller?
Today after work?
Okay.
And the spring compressor.
Yeah, and that too. If not, I can do it pretty much any time.
And the pulley installer. You're going to want the pulley installer as well.
Okay, yeah, whatever I need to do that.
I have all the other stuff.
Okay, perfect.
Did you break the bolt loose on the front of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
My gun takes them off.
Okay, did it? Okay, good. Do you have a new bolt?
No. Do we need a new bolt?
You should.
Okay. Do we need a new balancer too? Because Igor is saying they like to die.
They do like to die. It's not a bad idea. and get another one?
I'll try to locate one and then call him. If I can get one, I'll call
I
him.
have an underdrive one if he wants an underdrive one.
It's NA. You might want it.
It's an LS1. It's all the fucking help I can get in that regard. So I have an underdrive one. It's I think it's a Summit or some brand. I forget what it is. It's at home. I think it's like a 10% underdrive or something like that.
Another thing too is when you're done with this car tonight, we'll leave Zach's car up here. If you want to just back it up, it doesn't have to be strapped down. You just want to put it on the dyno.
Oh, is that where you're keeping it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're running out of spots.
Yeah.
So if you would do that, that would be much appreciated.
Do what? Just put the car on the dyno?
Yeah, just put it on the. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna pull one more car and then I gotta go because I gotta drop Kevin off and then go get my kids because I'm using his Subaru while mine's getting
sure.
wrapped.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds like fun.
Is everyone leaving?
No, we are because I gotta go do some shit before I get to Coeur d'Alene. So.
Right.
All right. Thanks,
Easy.
man. Appreciate it.
Yep. Well, I don't see that lane spot anymore. Dude, it's so bad. There's 30 cars here. Alright, so it looks like that cleared it up. So what that means is that it cleared up, but it also ended up going a little rich because I disabled it to 0. So what I want to do about half the compensation, I think, would probably assist. Would probably be the right amount because that hesitation went away completely. But then I actually started to get a negative trim. So that just means I need to tweak the evap flow a little bit to match what the car is doing. As we change cam timing, as we change throttle position, and we change the things in the engine, we'll have a different level of vacuum. And that amount of vacuum will alter how much evap flow we'll actually get, and therefore we can change what needs to be put in this value. So this is really just saying how much do we need to add air fuel wise to compensate for the evap flow. So that's where I'm going to try it. Just flash, we'll put that on there and see if it still is pretty good. Alright. Well, it feels really nice. Not gonna lie, it actually feels nicer than it's felt in a long time. But this thing is a knock monster. Oh yeah. Yeah, we do it here too, Anton. It's pretty bad. Okay, yeah, seatbelt chain. I don't hear it. Just like you said, I don't hear it. It's my wife here. Alright, we'll do a pull here. Alright. So my boost turbo dynamics are way off for the turbo setup because I didn't adjust them at all. So I clearly need to adjust turbo dynamics. That was way off. Let's see, where was the duty cycle hovering around? Looks like it was hovering around 25-ish. So I'll reduce the duty cycle to 25, and I'm going to adjust my PID controls, well, PI controls, to better suit this. Wow, negative 20. Holy cheese balls. That's insane. This should be down around 5. This here should be like negative 9, not negative 20, where the fuck that is. Not even 9, I'm at 6. Okay, so proportional is too aggressive. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. I'm going to reduce both of these just 10%. Too wacky. That's obviously way too high for what this turbo needs. So we were down around the 25 range. Make this 0 down here. I don't need anything down there because we have a higher pressure actuator than the factory turbo. And then we'll smooth this in. So 210 is what? What's boost target? 210. 210 boost target is 2 pounds. So actuator on this is about 12 to 14 pounds. So I need to add duty cycle until I exceed that. So 300 is when I need to add duty cycle to it. So 300 is all up here. So I don't need anything in this whole region because it won't do anything other than create integral windup, which we don't want. You've heard me talk about integral windup. It sucks. You don't want to deal with it. So we don't need anything there. So the same goes for low. Actually, low doesn't have shit down there. This spot is okay to have some down here, only because when you let off and you pass through this zone, and when you're shifting, it can be handy in keeping the duty cycle up a little bit. And it's for the same reason you could technically go down here and do that, but yeah, I think I will. Let's use the same values though. Oh, those are too high. So do that right here, just so when it passes through, it doesn't try and pull everything down. All right, that'll work fine. Did that. Let me check air fuel. Air fuel is really close to target, albeit wavy because the boost was wavy. Yeah, that was actually not too bad. We're gonna do another one. See if that. The car feels really nice right now. Actually, it. I'm not feeling any weird hiccups. I'm not feeling any odd trends at all. So that's good for Nate finally. Oh, but there's that fucking knock history on this thing. So this thing has just got a fucking legacies, man. Fucking legacies. So if you saw that feedback knock, -8 while driving normally, right? Something in this car is causing it like that. Like, look at the timing, 0 degrees. So the ECU pulls the timing all the way down to 0 degrees, and it still throws a knock event. That is the problem that this car has had for quite some time. Now that being said, it's not running. Oh, that's good. I can add fuel a little sooner, and I'm going to do that here in a second. Let me clear my graph off real quick. So we can add some more fuel to the closed loop control and go open loop a tiny bit sooner. Yeah, you do that. But even then, like, it shouldn't be knocking that much at atmospheric pressure with hardly any advance on it. But something about this thing has just been non-stop, making noise, making noise, making noise. And that's something with the legacies that I don't know if anyone's figured it out yet, what causes them to do that, but they really have a tendency to just knock like crazy. Not all of them. There's just some of them, they just do. And I don't even know why it is. What was my target, or what my load there? My load is 1.5, 1.6, 1.2. So I'm at atmospheric pressure. Knocking like that. It's just insane. Just insane. 1.2. Should have been around 14.0 AFRs. And I look at the log, and the log shows 14.0 AFR. So I'm gonna make it a little richer than that. I'm gonna pretend it's an NA high compression engine in this case. And I'm gonna know that NA motors like to be in the 13s, low 13s, high 12s. So I'm going to richen up the closed loop target in that area. Let's see if I can get it to behave more like an NA car. Get some more fuel on it right away. These things do have a higher compression ratio, these Legacies. Now, if I raise this and keep raising this, what will happen is it'll push the car right into open loop. And it'll push it right to the open loop map, which then won't have enough fuel on it. And it'll just kind of like, it won't hit the right targets. So, I don't want to just make it big. I need to do the math and say, okay, so I have closed loop targets 0, so stoic. 0, so stoic. So I'm going to 14.7 minus 1, so 13.7.3, so 13.4 is what the target's going to be. Can't talk, Neil. So 13.4 is what the target's going to be, so I need to make sure that the car doesn't try and jump open loop. No, right at 13.4. So we're going to bring it down some. We're going to bring this down to 13.0. Just to give us a little more authority there. That's good. That'll actually help out there too. So B12, same thing. We're going to go with the 1.3-ish. Now, like I said, you don't have to use closed loop for this. You can use open loop and just trigger open loop. And most people, that's what people have been doing on these cars forever. That was the first thing that people did to richen them up as load increase, was use open loop functionality for it. And it's absolutely okay to do it. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It is a method that, you know, I could use today to force more fuel in, but I want to know how much I'm pushing in this case. So that's why I'm doing it this way. Alright, so that's going to behave more like a NA car. We go full throttle. It's going to start adding fuel in closed loop, and then it's going to pop into open loop. Now what I'm going to do there is I'm going to go to the open loop table, and I'm at that same region, and I'm going to set this above where that was. So I'm going to set this at 13.6. Blend that. So that means that this region, oh, actually was here too. So let me take this and go 13.6. This one actually is a higher load. I chose the wrong point. I want that there like that. So the idea now with that is when it does pop open loop, or if I do hit some thresholds that cause the open loop, I have a similar target in the open loop maps, open loop strategy here. Alright, so I'm going to flash that because I want to get that done. Thank you, and you too. Air fuels otherwise looked good. Let me show you. See, it was a little late getting rich, but then once it did, flat 11.0, like, so that worked out well. Boost came down a smidge after it came up because I lowered the duty cycle just a little too far, but that's fine. Overall it was flat, but I need to raise the max duty cycle up so they can find this target better. But I'm okay with that. That's a satisfactory result for what I had done. Check my logs, verify that indeed my duty cycle is reaching yeah, the top of the table and sitting there. Oh, interesting. It actually was below that. 13. I didn't think my target was as low as 13. Maybe it was. Let's double check. No, it's definitely 16. Oh, I wasn't in sharp. I was in sport. Let's go to sport. See where our throttle settings are. No, it's 350 in sport. I should have went all the way to the right side here. Huh. Oops, oh, that one. Okay. I saw a chat come in. Let me get to a second here. Yeah, this is a 07 Legacy Spec B, yeah. Oh yeah, because you can read the top of the screen. What AC noise are you talking about? Oh, this? Well then just tell me to fucking turn it off. Jesus, I can just make the mode feet. No, the knock sensor in the same place. There's been a lot of theories as to what caused it on the Legacy, from noise to wiring issues with shielding, which is related to the noise, you know, or what. But for some reason, like, almost all of these do it. I don't know if the knock sensor wire runs by another sensor or something that's generating a field. Maybe the boost control song is too close to it and its field is caused. I don't know, but it's really a trip. It's definitely a problem. I mean, you look here and see that. I mean, which I think is weird. Knock sensor threshold. Oh, you can't see my fucking screen for the logging. That's right. It's jumping right now from 50 to 150. Send it idle. Nothing's changing, but the knock sensor threshold is just doing this. Oh, I can use this phone. I can do that. Everything else steady and stable, but that threshold, bloop 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 bloop. Why? What I'm going to do though is see, does this year do individual cylinder knock? I don't recall. Subaru was funny with the knock stuff. They went, yeah, no it doesn't. They went from no roughness monitors to roughness monitors. Then they went to limited knock information that you could stream. And then they went to knock per cylinder so you can check it. I don't think that pipe exists on this car anymore. I could be wrong, but I don't think it exists on this car. If it does, then that's a possibility. Absolutely a possibility. Alright. Save that. Disconnect here. Flash. I think I'm going to have to screw with the knock settings on this thing. See if I can increase the filtering or something. the thing I hate about doing that is I don't want to miss actual knock events. You know, like, fake ones are one thing, but I don't want to miss actual ones. And it's really it's a double-edged sword, you know. It's nice to get rid of that torque loss from it picking up no knock at all that it thinks is knock. But then to break an engine because it actually knocks, you know, that's not fun. Now I could that's weird. Now it's running on 3 cylinders. Post start. Big injector post start will do that. This car doesn't have the fuel pressure compensation on it. If it did, that'd be awesome, because then we could zero. Big injector, big fuel pump cars, they often get a rich misfire when you first start them, and the reason for that is the cars add extra fuel in post start, like I described earlier, when the O2 sensor is warming up. The problem is that what also happens in post start is the fuel pump runs 100%, and if you got a bigger than factory fuel pump and you have a stock fuel pressure regulator, any super small sized regulator, the fuel pressure jumps up, and that is a bit of a cunt. Delay. Let's make this delay a 1. Is there a 0? I've never tried a 0. Can I do a 0? So it runs, this is the step value, this is the decay step value for the post start times, we use my decay step value until the letter 0. Alright, let's make it decay faster. Sorry, I'm trying to do multiple things at once here, and I have a penis, so I'm bad at multitasking. So when the fuel pressure is high, the injectors flow a lot. And when the pump flows fuel, especially with a higher than normal fuel pump, or higher flow than factory fuel pump, then what you get is a really long period of rich operation that causes the car to hesitate in post start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the enrichment across the board and increase the speed at which the enrichment decays, which you saw me do there, and that other one, in hopes that we don't have any issues with rich running. Now if you do the fuel pressure compensation kit, use the Cobb custom features, then when it sees the high pressure, it automatically reduces injector duty cycle or injector pulse width to keep the high pressure, causing the car to run rich. So I'll flash that next time, and I gotta start it. We'll see how close my turbodynamics are this time, and see if I got that spot to richen up as much as I want to richen up at around a 1.2 load. Look at that, fine knock, feedback knock, just driving it casually. Lame. Wait, you guys see, I keep forgetting you can't see the logs. But yeah, I just pulled 8 degrees of timing right there for no reason. I think I was at 20% throttle, if even that. So air-fuel ratio was 14.0. Manifold pressure was a vacuum of 2 pounds, so I wasn't even at atmospheric pressure yet. Timing was 27 degrees, so nothing. Oh no, that's after it pulled 8 degrees of timing. When it first started pulling timing, it was at 31, which is still nothing for, I mean, the stock engine. You look at the stock timing curve, and it's this 45 to 25 in this period. I didn't even get a chance to try and test that area that I just changed. And I wish I could show you the log. Oh, I can't. I keep forgetting to have the phone. I'm gonna show you here. Come on. Knock sensor threshold. Just up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. I suspect some of that might be I do hear some ticking. Could be per cylinder. Nope, that hesitation's back. The evap, I added too much on the evap. Okay. I was able to load it that time with no knock. That's good. Air fuels did richen up, it looks like, adequately with what I set. I did not like to do a full pull because the trash control kicked on, so I gotta turn that off. Commanded fuel looks good, and AFR, the tailpipe, seem to have followed commanded fuel pretty well. Try and do another pull if I can. Alright, boost was really, really, really low. Did I turn that up? Huh. Maybe that's a different curve. Let me clear that. Bring up the last one. The fuck? The dyno says 10 pounds. The computer says 16. The airflow matches the horsepower, like it should. But the boost levels are clearly different between the dyno and the car. That's really weird. What the hell would cause that? Check this log. Look at this barometric pressure. Let's see if that's moving around at all. No, that's the same. Huh.
I gotta roll. So I gotta leave you solo. But I'll come back tonight and move all the cars. Ashley and I have dinner plans with a friend that we set up for 6. So, and everyone else had very important stuff they had to do, so no one else could stay late to help.
Well, it does bring me to something that I want to talk about.
Yes.
I'm tired of waiting for my car.
Your what?
I'm tired of waiting for my car.
Your RS?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what else to do, but I'm tired of waiting for it. So I think I'm just gonna grab my shit and put my other turbo back on, because I don't want to wait for it anymore.
Yeah, the hard part is every time I put Lane on your car without you here, he just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and he doesn't need me for shit though. Like nothing I can do but stand there and stare at him.
I know.
So I just obviously the turbo kit's not gonna get done, so I just wanna get my shit.
Well,
if 3700.
If the Corvette gets done tomorrow like they think it's supposed to, could potentially try to work on your car Friday. I could have him on it.
Well, you got a ton of other cars here, obviously. I know that.
I put out another ad like a week ago looking for another tech.
Yeah?
But I haven't had any responses yet. So it's tough. I don't know the answer on what to do. Could we schedule an undivided time that you could come by and you, me, and Lane can have a conversation about your car?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what we need to talk about, other than just need to get worked on.
So I just need to know 100% what needs to be done and what a realistic time frame to allot for it is, so I can schedule it. The problem is that I don't know what needs to be done. I don't know what a realistic time frame is for it. And Lane doesn't take the initiative to say, hey, I need to do this, you know?
Okay.
So maybe tomorrow, I don't know if you could swing by at some point and the three of us can just have a conversation about your car.
Okay.
I want to get your car done too. It's been a battle of like, we have to get this car done because we got to get it ready for tune, or we got to get this done, you know, like right now obviously everyone's stressed because we want to get the Corvette done because we know that the schedule, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks. I mean,
and Tanner's on Christian Kincaid's car trying to get it ready for a tune, so it's like, it seems like we always got, and I'm not saying that the tune's a problem, I'm saying we just always got stuff that's like, oh shit, we're on this deadline, we gotta go, you know?
Right. Well, that's why I always tell people to get it in the week before or days before or whatever.
Yeah. Which I just overnighted a shit ton of parts from Turn 14, and it looks like Turn 14 may have not shipped our orders. and I don't know why they didn't ship our orders, but a fucking phone call or email saying, hey, we're not going to ship your orders would have been really fucking nice to know.
Yeah. Well,
do you have a key for the shop?
I don't know if I have the keys on me or not. Let's see. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I would say with you, normally it's not a problem at night for me to stay.
I know. You got your dinner thing.
What?
You got your dinner thing.
Yeah, we just planned this one out like 2 weeks ago. And Ashley found a babysitter and hired one for the night, so I don't want to leave her hanging.
Sure.
Well, yeah. Finish up, take as long as you need, then after I get done with that shit, I'll come back tonight and I'll lock everything up and move everything. Obviously lock the door in your way, but I'll get all the cars moved and whatnot.
I'm gonna put the blue one back on the dyno, Zach's car or whatever.
Yeah, I'll put all that on the dyno. You don't have to dick with any of that stuff. You just pull this one off, put the ramps up, shut the door, and then when I come tonight, I'll drop the ramps and put it on.
Okay.
I went through and locked all the cars out there so that they're at least locked. Then I can move everything later on.
Okay.
But yeah, come by and talk about your car, because then I can get together a plan. Like, I don't know what we're doing with your car, where we're at with it, so it's hard for me to go back and be like, do this thing!
Right.
So.
Okay. I can do that. I'm trying to get this done, though.
What?
Trying to get this done.
Yeah. Alrighty. I got a jet, but
Alright, dude.
we'll figure it out tomorrow. We'll get a game plan with it.
Alright.
Alright, appreciate you.
Yep. I think, I think that he should do some shit after work for it.
Lane?
Yeah.
On your car?
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's for the business too, because
Well,
you guys need the new turbo kit. Shit
Believe
needs to
me,
be
like
done.
right now his car is being wrapped and they both chalked out at 4:30 because they have shit to do. I'm like, we're literally paying heaven to wrap his fucking car. So like, I understand the frustrations. The hard part is the guys have grouped up and felt they're taking advantage of and expected to stay late. So now 5 o'clock goes around, they're like, we shouldn't be here a minute past 5. And I think that initiated from Elijah and Tony because they said they don't get paid overtime when they stay past 5. But the problem is that they also don't get docked when they fucking take a 2-hour lunch. They don't get docked when they show up 30 minutes to an hour late. So like, the pay equals out pretty well. And not only that, half the time when they're staying after hours, it's to work on personal shit.
Right.
You know, the shop shit, like team stuff.
Well, there's not a lot of team stuff going on. And that's not your fault. It's like the team environment is kind of like decayed.
Yeah, I agree.
I like to see it better, you know, for sure.
100%. It's a tricky one. I don't know the answer to it. I'd like to see it too. Maybe shoot a text to the group chat and say, you guys want to do dinner tomorrow night or something. I know Lane has tomorrow night open. He said tomorrow night was late. He could stay late if needed.
Okay.
So, and I don't have anything planned tomorrow night, so I can do dinner with everyone too, and we can turn it into more of a let's come together talk rather than a hey you fucking guys talk, because everyone here is so stubborn that every time we have a hey you fucking guys talk, it just drives a wedge.
Yeah, but that's all I'm good at.
Alright, I'm gonna jet, but we'll put together a game plan tomorrow for your car, and then we should try to do dinner with the guys tomorrow to do a little team building morale.
Do you want to do a thing at my house then?
Sure.
Just do like grill some burgers and shit.
I think Igor's gonna be here because Igor's gonna help on the vet too, so then everyone can just leave here and head there.
Okay, we can do that. I was gonna make pizzas at some point. I can do pizzas tomorrow, I guess.
Do pizza tomorrow?
Pizzas and burgers.
Yeah. I still think during like shop time you should come by so we can have a talk with Lane about the plan for the car. And like, you know, not on a day where you have a tune and like he's got the vet, but it's not that pressured on him tomorrow, so like it'd be easy for us to sneak away and have just a dedicated conversation about that. Because he has just about ADD as I do, so the problem is that if we say it in passing or we don't make it a point to this talk is about this, we'll be all over the place. So. Alrighty, dude.
Alright, dude.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you much. Not connected here. Come on, dashboard. Let's try it again. So both times I started it were clear. There was no hesitation, so that's good. It didn't get overly rich in post start. At least not long enough to create hesitations and misfires. I have too many cars that are taken apart right now. My RS is taken apart. My black BMW is taken apart. My Corvette's taken apart. My black RS is taken apart. My dark gray one, the clutch went out in it. So I'm driving right now. The clutch kind of works. But it goes in the body shop Monday to get the shit fixed on the front of it. So like all my cars are fucking taken apart or out of commission. And the white RS should not have taken this long to do a fucking turbo kit. And I initially brought the car in and just said, let's change these flanges and put this turbo on the car on my existing turbo kit. And the dude was like, oh, let's change it. I'm like, all right, fine, let's change it. Let's do that then, whatever. But that was months ago. And so now I'm just like, change the fucking flange and put it back in where my existing kit is. I'm just get the fuck out of here. I want to drive my car. And now that I'm down another fucking car, like it'd be really handy to have it. I can drive the truck, but the tires are bald as fuck. It's supposed to snow later this week or next week. So, yeah. I just need to put my fucking cars back. Just need the project done. That was a full pull, and there was absolutely zero knock on that pull, which is great news, but I don't think I changed anything in that region that would have caused it not have knock this time. So, unfortunately, that's just the way it goes with the legacies that have that random knock issue. But I still have this weird boost thing. Dyno says 10 pounds. This thing says 15. Which means I probably have a boost line that popped off or something in the engine.
They
didn't pop off, but it wasn't on all the way, so let's see if it works this time. That was funny. Trash control kicked on during the pull. As soon as I hit the trash control button, the car went and just took off. Alright, so this one knocked you in, but not until 5,000 RPM. And look at the log, it might be a tiny bit too aggressive right there in that spot. So I'm not upset about that. I can adjust that spot. It's not very aggressive, but it could be just a little aggressive. Also, it was the speed at which the boost came back in, because it took off like a rocket there for a second, so that was pretty cool. Alright. It wasn't for me. And I didn't even lower the timing on this map. So like I said, I was going with factory stuff and see what we got going on. So now I know that other things are working better. I'm gonna do this, which I probably should have done earlier, but you know. Pull a bunch of timing out right here. Just gonna do a quick blend like that. An increase in load. Pull a little more out right here. Right here. So we're keeping this the factory trend right now. Some engines I find really dig the factory trend. I mean, it makes sense, right? The factory built the damn thing. Some engines require a complete different remap of the ignition advance curve and do the modification stuff. But right now we're trying to do as little as possible and troubleshoot all these weird glitches and stuff and try and make sure that changes that I'm making aren't inducing or any other issues, because it's already got enough, right? So this is a unique situation with this car. I do want to hit this one spot a smidge where it knocked earlier. Just pull a little bit out of it, make it just a little less aggressive right here. Again, it's really a fine line between pulling too much timing out and losing a bunch of torque, you know, and now I changed the axes on the time map, and because I did that, you have to flash it, because the axis change doesn't happen in real time. Only the data inside does, the map. So I have to flash the change so that the axis change will occur in the tune as well. post-start. I have all 4 cylinders? I do. It's idling quite nice, actually. I set that delay at 0, so I wish I could get the car connected, the ECU connected to the cob fast enough that I could catch when the commanded fuel starts to decay away. It's already started because it's at 13 now, so. I thought it started. It's just sitting at 13. That must be where I have it set with all the changes that I made. But the decay hasn't started yet. Oh, duh. O2 sensor's not live, so of course it hasn't started. I bought a 2019 BMW. I think I told you guys about that before. And was really excited about it because it's a manual. I wanted a manual really bad. It's a coupe. I like coupes. I have a few of them. It's that darker space gray kind of metallic. Not like a bright silver and not black like my other car. I really dig that metallic color. And it's rear-wheel drive, which I liked because it's lighter, doesn't have all the X-Drive stuff under it in the way and all of that. So I was really excited about the car. I get it, I go to tune it, ECU's locked. Can't get the ECU unlocked. I got to take the ECU out and send it off to get unlocked. Alright, fine. I'll do that and work on the other stuff that I want to do as well. Put exhaust on it, put sway bars on it, get the ECU back, get a tune on it, does good. Some still feels funny on it at that time. Some felt funny when I first got the car, to be honest with you. And I put a fuel pump on it so I got ethanol. Load the ethanol tune, put 30% ethanol in it. First drive, clutch slips. Motherfuck. Immediately. Now, that being said, the B58 produces butt wax of torque. Like, it produces a lot of torque. That thing is amazing. That engine is ridiculous, but it's super undersquare. It's a diesel block. They built that block to work with a diesel and gas motor. So it's undersquare with a really long stroke. It's super reinforced. It's a crazy strong block. But yeah, so it makes a lot of torque, and with ethanol in it, it makes more torque than the clutch can handle. Shit. Trash control off this time. Sport sharp. Clear the dyno screen, so we have things on it. So then I'm doing research on clutches. I can't find clutches that fit this car. This is weird, because I didn't think that it changed any, you know, from the previous generation. But all the part numbers I look up don't match. If I start looking online, I see a lot of people with my exact car are putting factory clutches from the 550i in it and holding way more torque than that thing is holding. I'm like, sweet. I mean, it's a twin turbo V8 with a manual. It should be a strong enough clutch. So I get the part number, try and find one. It's 515 bucks wholesale. Nobody has one in stock. Look at the fitment of that, and I realized that with that fits, then also, because that one also fits the E92 series, that if it fits the E92 series, it should fit this car. As long as I don't change the flywheel, I know that it should fit. So I get a clutch that fits an E92 from ACT. I look on their parts list, find one. I really like to get like an XTSS, so they only have an HDSS in stock. Only one left in the country. So now this car I just got already needs a fucking clutch, and I'm putting a clutch in it week after next. After I get back from the body shop. think that line keeps slipping off. Because all of a sudden boost is funky again. The dyno says 12 at red line. My log says 15 at red line. I think I need a new line on the dyno. Time is crazy conservative. I only got 10 degrees of timing at 6,400 RPM. That's crazy conservative. Through the mid-range, 2 degrees. But at 4 degrees of timing, with 10 pounds of boost on it, it still knocked. Obviously didn't knock, but that's what the knock is picking up, so great. Alright, well, that was good. That was good. Timing was too conservative, which I knew it was going to be pretty conservative. As you see how much I pulled out of it. Raise my boost target. The red line a little bit. Ooh, that's too much. Ah, stop it. There's a delay right now. It's driving me crazy. Need to stop logging. Making real-time changes while logging. Or not logging, but while monitoring parameters on the dashboard will make it skip. Or if you do like a live trace, that'll make it skip really bad. Check that boost line again. Man, you push it on and it feels really tight. Do a pull and it slides right off. But it feels really tight when it's pushed on. Oh, I want to change one more thing too, actually. I want to change the throttle. I'm gonna flash this to the ECU and go get a zip tie for that line while it flashes. No zip ties. They're locked in someone's box. No, not the one on the back of the manifold. It's the one on the bypass valve. The bypass valve one is sliding off. It feels really snug, but no. Nope, they left me all alone, locked the toolbox, so now I have no access to tools or zip ties. That's not frustrating at all. Post start's really nice. I'm happy about that. I'm happy about that. Well, I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave all that alone. Knock control is still all bone stock. I'll leave it that way. If I start getting more issues, I'm gonna start adjusting filters and sensitivities. But I don't want to do that. It's not where I want to go. Although the factory level and balancing is pretty low. It's not terrible, but typically closer to 4 to get the job done when you have a forged motor. I don't like fucking with that if I don't have to. Like I said, if you desensitize it too much, you can miss a real event. Although, with as often this thing triggers, who knows if you can catch a real event? It could just be, you know, electrical issues. Sports chart, trash control off. Remember those things. Verify that the ABCS is active once the logging comes up. It is. O2 sensor is active. Painted fuel final has finally decayed to where it should be. Oscillation in the boost there. I can work on the boost dynamics some more. I'm actually surprised that it's having that much of an issue with the turbodynamics. Yeah. Getting only a little bit of wind up. It's only a little bit. It should definitely do better. I wish this was a full PID strat instead of just a PI strat. I know I've said that 100 times. The other issue is it's only requiring 15 or 25% to hit our boost targets right now. That's one of those situations where a external wastegate is really handy, because with an external wastegate you can put a different spring in it, make the system better. Clearly I don't need 4%, right? Look, you're like, I don't need 4% ever for integral. That's just way too much wind up. I just don't need it because I'm only at 25% anyways for peak boost. So I don't need that much integral action out of the system. That's just too much. So the speed density hacks that they have on factory ECU, what they're doing is they're replacing the mass airflow sensor, which calculates mass airflow, and they replace it with a calculation. Sorry, mass airflow sensor measures mass airflow, right? It measures. This is how much air is going into the engine. That's its job. And so then they replace that measurement with a calculation, and that's fine, but it's just based on PV equals NRT. The problem with it is compensations with a software hack like that are often what's the word I'm looking for? They travel in a loop. So typically what happens is you have this compensation that happens later on in the calculation based on, say, intake air temp or other things that will affect what the mass sensor is reading. But now when you have the intake air temp being used for the initial calculation where the mass airflow sensor used to be, but then you have another compensation from intake air temp again later on, you start getting these like redundant chains. And so sometimes it's fine, but then in certain situations you reach a point where you start to like avalanche and have an issue. So then combine that with the fact that the factory ECU that year is very, very limited in its calculational ability. They degrade like crazy. They have issues hardware-wise where all of a sudden it just doesn't control AFRs correctly because parts of it are just worn out, resistors are worn out. There's just too much stuff really with that old ECU and all of that I just wouldn't really want to waste your money or my time on. And then you add in injectors the size of 1300s on that old small ECU that has minimal amounts of injector compensations and characteristic tables. It's just not going to be a good time. If you want something like that to run good with injectors that size, which you have no reason in the world to run injectors that size. That's
right. That's just kind of what I had handed down to me from other people. So
yeah.
Just basically get the car running.
Yeah, 1300s don't belong on a VF or even that ECU or even a 2-liter for that matter. So you should have with a VF you should have stock STI injectors on there, dark blues. Bam, you're done. Now if you're trying to do flex fuel, you might need some 1050s or something. But
yeah, that's what the reason for that. Flex fuel.
yeah, I mean technically you kind of can, but not very well. Not with Cobb. You can't with Cobb, so that just doesn't work. You need other means and stuff. So yeah, it's just not a good setup overall. If you adjust some stuff, then we could definitely make it run really well. It depends on what you want to adjust. If you want to adjust the EMS and go with like a Link plug-in board with a CAN-based wideband O2 sensor, then we can do speed density, flex, launch control, fucking anything you want. Change heads, change displacement, whatever you want, and we have the ability to do that. If you want to stick with that ECU, then we're going to need to go with smaller injectors and a different tuning strategy for your power output that you have. And if you want to add flex to it, you got to get off the Cobb, unfortunately, which sucks. I prefer the Cobb all day long, but they don't support it for the O3, so you got to get off that. Then you got to go into another open source one called Carberry, which is still a software hack based on the STI Group N rally hack, which has got like features in it for rally, but it doesn't totally match your harness that you have in there either. So there's just a bunch of stuff in it that isn't a good balance. So. Yeah, if you're doing pump gas on a VF, dark blues all day long, absolutely.
Okay. All right. I wouldn't have any issues. That being a car right now is like pounds or something like that.
No, the VF turbo and the dark blue injectors, they max out at the same time. They're not having an issue with that.
Okay. Cool. All right, man. Well, I will do some digging, see what I can pick up and what I want to throw this week, and I'll hopefully be getting back to you soon.
Yeah, it just depends, like I said, how financially committed you are to it, and what your final power goals are, as to which avenue you should go.
Right.
So.
Okay. Cool. Right on.
All right, man.
I appreciate your time, man.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Bye. What's up?
We just had a couple minutes to kill before we had to go to dinner, so we came by to say hi.
Hi. Would you check the vacuum line on the blow-off valve, see if it's slid off again? Bypass valve, not blow-off valve. It slides off every pull, but the toolboxes are locked, so I can't get to the zip ties, so... Hi, Ashley! A little smoother. It was a little smoother. Still some oscillation in the boost, which is crazy because it's just not. I think I gotta kill the proportional more. The proportionals get me. That's just so little, you know? It's just so little. Knock this down. This won't affect what we're doing right now. This is for other stuff that I'm thinking about it. I want to take this. I want to take that. Put this up. Nothing. Dial this down to 2%, so that helps. Yeah, percent to 2 hertz. I think I killed the double audio, right? Did I fix it? It was only for a second when I had the phone and the other thing on. Pretty sure I don't have both on anymore. After the math change, I got it. Alright, so save that again, do this again, that, save that, flash that, key off, key on, hit enter, flashy, flashy.
also have an electronic boost controller box.
Cool. Thank you. You knock this down, it's too high.
We'll see if it holds.
I don't think it needs much. I feel like it's close.
Yeah, we were just stopping by. We have to jet now, actually, but at least I fixed an issue.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. Do a pull, I want to see if it holds on.
Okay. What is that? Oh, the O2 sensor's not active yet. Well, that's annoying.
Cool.
So that's the issue with the post start. If I kill the post start too much so it doesn't misfire because of high fuel pressure, then it can potentially go lean when you go to drive it. Apparently.
Nice.
Yeah. There
All
it
right,
goes.
we gotta go to dinner.
Now the sensor's awake. Peace, dude. Have a good one. No knock during the poll, so that's good news. No knock during the poll, that is great news. Boost a little unstable, but better. I could add some to the target down lower to help minimize the overshoot right there. Or reduce the max. Oh, it didn't go down because I changed it. Alright. Okay, that was better. I think I touched my boost limiter though. Nope. Maybe. So I'm down here. I don't think so though. Shouldn't have. What's this show me? Oh yeah, right there. I did 22.5 is what I touched right there. So at 3,800 RPM, I touched the boost limiter. Good news. Just got an email from Brandon of BTI Innovations. They do can-based gauges and stuff, and he's gonna customize a screen for me to get rid of the nitrous option and make it a logger. So it has a push-button can system on it, so it talks to the Mtron while displaying parameters and stuff, and we can the users can change things with it. So it acts like a push button as well as a logging thing. So that's gonna be great. So I'll buy a couple of those. Anton, if you're still here, you might want one. So I need to add a little more to the post start, but I need to do it when I'm driving. I gotta find that. Don't think it tells us which one is when vehicle speed is sensed. I'll bet to 1 on these. Let's see if that'll help. Bump this up. 2. I'll give that a shot next time around. Check that vacuum line. Vacuum line held. Control. That's that. boost was way better. Way better. I need to rig up a camera so you guys can see the traces as they happen. The boost was very flat that time. Almost like a tabletop. Knock free and smooth boost. Can't complain about that. Why does it say it dropped? Oh, that guy right there. You. Fix that. There we go. Okay, that should do better there. Well, actually, it's really good. I think we're just about done. I did get a check engine light though. I don't know what for yet, so I gotta turn off this logger and see what I got check engine light for. Right at the top of the pole. Maybe I don't turn up the MAF limit. I don't know. I thought I did. MAF sensor circuit high input. Oh, apparently I didn't. I thought I did. That's weird. Limiters. MAF. 400 grams per second. We didn't hit 400, did we? No. So I must have a voltage one. Does this one have MAF voltage? Oh, maybe I went over 4. Nope. Interesting. Hey, Trey, still around? I'm not seeing a MAF sensor voltage limit on here. Did it get misplaced? It used to be in here, but I'm not seeing it. And it's definitely not here. I haven't exceeded 400. I don't know where it went. That's really odd. I mean, the log shows 360. I wonder if it's a wiring issue. Maybe the voltage is jittering or something. It's maybe we're figuring something out. Oh no. Wait, did I say 360? What did I say? Oh, that was knock threshold. Okay. Airflow. Oh, I did max it out right at 5 volts, right at the end of the pole. I'll be darned. I guess I did max it out. right there. Very last 400 RPM. Five volts. Wow. Well, what do you know? I didn't see that coming. That's pretty crazy. Means you're pulling some air on this thing. Might be a GR math update in the future sometime. Long future. Enjoy the fact the car runs as well as it does now for a while before that happens. Yeah, so I gotta kill some boost up here at the very top end. That might be too much too soon though. Let me bump that up right there. I've had this fucking cold forever. It's annoying. Yeah, I see where it cut. If you're still here, you might look at this timing curve and you see this swoop that goes down like that. And you might think, that seems weird. Why is that? Because in an NA car, you're not going to see that shape. That shape doesn't exist in a naturally aspirated car. And the reason for it is this. If you're part of the V8 world, domestics and that kind of stuff, you hear a lot of people that add on turbo kits talking about, oh, you got to pull 1.5 degrees of timing per pound of boost, or 2.5 degrees of timing per pound of boost, that kind of the thumb rule. And while I hate those thumb rules because they're so generic, and 1 pound of boost doesn't fucking mean anything without knowing what the flow rate is, what the power is, how much restriction you got, all that kind of stuff. But the mentality behind that is, as you increase the cylinder density, the burn speed goes up, and VE is going to be improving and all that kind of stuff. Well, when you first start applying an increase in positive flow like that, or positive pressure ratio across it, the boost pressure is going to be a lot higher than the exhaust gas back pressure. So your VE is going to go up a lot. And when your VE goes up a lot, you get a lot more mass in the cylinder. And so your timing retard with that increase in VE is going to be more drastic. But then as you raise boost and as load is going up, exhaust back pressure is also going up. And then you start to develop a lower VE. And so that curve, how fast it starts to drop, will decay to a point where, as you're adding all this extra back pressure, you're only getting a marginal, change in VE, or even a reduction in VE, and the amount of timing retard needed will almost become zero. You'll start retaining more exhaust gas. That'll start slowing the burn down, and then next thing you know, you actually have a situation where the exhaust retention, the high back pressure, is slowing the burn down. So you will no longer need to keep retarding timing. And that's what you're seeing with this curve. Initially, in the middle section of it, we're adding a lot of VE, we're getting a lot of charge density, the exhaust gas back pressure is low, right? We're adding a bunch, and we're retaining no exhaust gas in the cylinder. The burn is very fast, and as I increase load, that burn is very, very strong, and you need less timing, is basically what I'm getting at. Then as I increase that load, exhaust starts filling up the cylinder again, and that starts slowing the burn down. Even though I have an increase in boost pressure, I've slowed the burn down with retaining exhaust gases and other things, and the amount of retard actually becomes less. So that's just something to look at when you're comparing curves on cars. You'll see different curves based on how good the pressure ratio is across the engine. A lot of back pressure, you'll be slowing down that ignition front or flame speed. Sorry, I'm getting near the end of the day. I'm getting a little pooped. Words are becoming harder. I don't know if anyone's still here. Yeah, I forgot this was a GD-sized MAF, and I was thinking I had all up to 500, like you do with a GR. I forgot it's GD size, so when I hit 330, I was like, didn't think nothing of it. But I think this is it. My guess is this is going to be the end of the tune. But now that I say that, it's going to yell at me. Right as I said that, tip and knock. Like, it hasn't happened in like 5 poles. I'm not even giving it any throttle, and it fucking goes tick, 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 right as I said that. Oh, shit. There it is again, 7. I haven't even loaded it yet. Alright, hold the boost down up top. I'm within the 5 volts of the sensor still. Close though, close. Let's do another pull. As soon as I said that, tipped and knocked. What a dick. there was a little hesitation. It was slow to transition into open loop, and it gave it a hesitation. That one was slow to transition to open loop. I need to work on that a little bit right here. Yeah, that's weird though too, because the closed loop target is so rich, but yet it still didn't do it right. Yeah, it stayed a little too much there. That's weird because the target is 12.3. The target's 12.3, but it's pulling fuel. Given me 13.5. Oh, the boost is just too high for the O2 sensor, that's all. So I'm just gonna have to switch into open loop a little quicker. Just a little quicker. I can force that with this. Let's see, where was that happening at? Right here. 3,000 and, oh yeah, that load's way high. Oh, that's, what? Okay. Down. I don't like dropping this delay down too much, but I got it going down, it's not working. I have to bump this up now in this region. Keep from popping here. Okay. Alright, Nate, well, hopefully it's fixed now. Might have to make a few more tweaks on that. It's a slippery slope with the open closed loop. You know, if you set it too sensitive, then it pops an open loop when you're on the highway. You make changes, you know, throttle, and then it happens too quick and your fuel economy goes to shit. And if you don't do it fast enough, then it hesitates like that. So it's, you know, one of those things you just gotta work on. Different turbos have different response times. Everything changes. Everything just changes with every setup change. So we'll see how that is. Post start's still good. That's good. It's not hesitating on us. It's not misfiring with the high fuel pressure. That's good. I don't know if I can drive it yet. I know I added some to it in anticipation of being able to drive it without the O2 sensor active. Feels okay right now. So maybe that last change worked out. Be able to drive it without the O2 sensor active. Yeah, there we go. Seems pretty close. Another thing was one of those, you know, fine lines. Getting the post start rich enough that you can drive it, but not so rich that it misfires. Right there. It does have it there at 1100 RPM. Right at 11. I can adjust that. up yet? There it is. Seemed to do it. I actually had a little bit of like a misfire near peak boost, but that was actually from low timing since I pulled so much timing out of it. So I mean, it's only running 6 pounds of boost right there, or 6 degrees of timing. I had some timing up top. It took fine. And I think it probably improved the power curve. We'll find out here in a second. Oh yeah, way better. Way better. Alright, so that worked. That all worked well. Still near the end of that mass airflow sensor though. We were right there on the cusp. I might have to just knock the RPM down just a couple hundred. I let the rev limit go up to almost 7, but that's gonna just mean too much airflow. I'll knock it back down. Go 200 RPM. Oops, there. That'll help minimize overshooting that target. Or overshooting that limit on the mass airflow sensor. So right here I have so little timing on it that it does give me a little hiccup on occasion. See if that'll hiccup a little less. Felt a little bit. Air fuels are plenty rich though, 11.5, 3,000 RPM. So a little hesitation at 3,000. The air fuels were good. I need to change my injector timing a little bit on that. I got it pretty low right there, I think. Said that it ran out of math, yeah. Yeah, we didn't get that far before. Like, we had so many issues before, we never got to push it to that point. Now we're there, it's like, man, if we'd known that we were going to be pushing the MAF that far, we could just go into the GR MAF right off the bat. I have to change the wiring harness, well, not the harness, but the plug on the end of it for that to work, but it's not a difficult thing. I have a customer I like, nice guy, but he always tells me, oh yeah, no hurry, no hurry, no hurry, and then he calls me like 100 times. When? This time, okay, cool. No hurry though. I'm like, all right. And then, like, I'll get back to you. Then the phone rings constantly. Clearly it's a hurry. Clearly it's a hurry. Well, they don't see the power numbers. They don't see that it's doing 355 wheel. The last one was lower. 348. It shouldn't keep going lower though. It should be good by now. Let's go to 1100 to see if that spot's still shitty. Yeah, it doesn't like 1100. It doesn't like partial throttle 1100. Without the O2 sensor active. Commanded fuel's 12. So you would think that it had plenty of fuel. And the air fuel sensor, oh, it's too rich. Okay, here it is. So now the O2 sensor just kicked on. So when I added 6%, I should have pulled 6%. It's actually too rich. Okay, I thought it was lane. It felt like a lane stumble. Oh, it was rich stumble. Okay. Let's go back to that. Remember 8 polls ago when I said I think we're done? Yeah, about that. It's actually perfect air fuel right now. It's still doing this. Interesting. This map. Let's find out. Am I in this map? No. Come on. Oh, interesting too. The AVCS is 30 and the table says 0. Alright, let's take this 20. Let's make this 10. On this one right here. And that is just too much. Hey, dude. Welcome to the stream. It's only been a couple hours. I started quite a while ago, actually. I wonder when I started. Does this thing tell me? Three hours ago. Yeah. Some cars require more attention than others. I got like an hour late start anyways on the car. Trying to figure out this little roughness at 1200 or 1100 RPM right now. I think I got it. I think it's gone. Not any more hesitations. I think we're good. Still hesitation right there, though. I don't know what that is. I don't see anything that would cause that. I really thought the adjusting the fuel would make a difference there. It's right at the onset, right at 3K. Just has a little hesitation. And the timing is retarded. So, I mean, that could be part of it, but... It's only 10 pounds of boost. It's probably just not enough timing. 10 pounds of boost, they usually want a lot more than 6 degrees. Bunch right there, that's where the hiccup is. Let's see if it feels different now. probably makes 50 more foot-pounds of torque. Or less. It had less boost though, so we do it again. Oh, maybe a little more. Wait, what? Oh yeah, okay. Traction control was on. Fred, turn that off. Let's try it again. I think that's it. Humbling times. Yeah, it's all fucking whack right now, man. It's all whack right now. Alright, I'm gonna save this stuff, hide my screen, my personal stuff, and I think, anything you guys want to talk about while I just add all the data to this tune and close up some shit? Oh yeah, I absolutely can. I absolutely can. Give me 1 second. Come on, phone. I got no visual here. Oh, okay. My screen's not showing me, but there that is. There we go. Is it worth it to go dual AVCS? I don't think so. I don't think so. It becomes a factor. Where as you increase power, or what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to do work too, but sit down. Okay, so all right, so dual AVCS. Dual AVCS is good for emissions. That's why the big reason why they did it. Is it good for power? Nah, marginally. And the issue with that is that when it's like, if you're trying to get to the point where you're squeezing out the last 3 to 5 horsepower on it, then you're trying too hard. Is kind of my take on it. The other issue is that it's the maximum level calculated load delta. So how do I say this? If you're going for a butt whack of power, right? You're like, oh, well, if I use exhaust AVCS, then, you know, I can get a little bit more out of it. That's true. The problem is you're going for butt whack of power, you're going to go with big cams. And if you go with big cams, you're going to need heavy springs. If you need heavy springs, then the springs and the load from the cams becomes too much for the AVCS cam to even, for the spring inside the cam itself to control. And so what will happen is you will end up having exhaust cams that retard themselves because the friction of the valve train is enough to compress the spring in the AVCS on the exhaust only, on the AVCS, which then drags that cam behind you. So you lose control of the cam. Well, that's not good, especially if one goes more than the other. So it's not worth it in the sense that the chances are high that you're going to have problems if you start going for, you know, higher power and that kind of stuff. You're way better off getting just a better set of heads and cams and springs, and then, you know, not messing with it. So hope that helped. Alright, notes are in. Now, AVCS for the intakes over not having AVCS, absolutely worth it. The intake is so important. The exhaust can give you something, but it's not much. It can't give you anywhere near what the intake can give you. Intake, you know, you just intake with and without AVCS, your turbo will spool 1,000 to 1,500 RPM later without it, right? Or sooner with it. You never get that kind of response out of exhaust. You get, you know, maybe 150 RPM, maybe 200 RPM with exhaust adjustability. Like you just don't get the response with the exhaust because the exhaust doesn't provide a significant amount of control over how well the system or the engine charges, right? How the intake is the primary lobe in getting air into the engine because it's the intake, right? So yeah, I would say exhaust AVCS just doesn't yield much results. And in one of my videos where I was tuning, you may have seen I changed the exhaust cam timing 30 degrees during the tune. All I did was go 10, 20, 30, or 0, 10, 20, 30, something like that. And there was zero change in power. In some cars, you get some. But in most cars, you don't get much. Because you get swapping between an exhaust gas blowdown and overlap. So, like, you know, you get more blowdown, less expansion, or you get more expansion but more overlap. And so one of them's a plus and one of them's a minus. And when exhaust pressure is high enough at the higher RPM like that, it can become a wash. Just no change. 30 degrees. That's how much I changed the timing on the exhaust, and it made no change. Now, if you're trying to do an Atkins cycle or something else where you're trying to retain a bunch of exhaust gas in the cylinder and get better fuel economy, then yeah, exhaust can do that in the lower RPM stuff, but up top. All the time. Yeah, I've done that plenty of times. Yeah, it doesn't matter who makes it, right? It matters where the events are timed. Since in these cars I use AVCS anyways, I control the overlap with AVCS, so it doesn't really matter. If I find a cam that I like the profile better on one exhaust and the intake on the manufacturer, absolutely. I have no issue with that. I've done it a few times. Multiple times, really. I've combined much bigger intakes and smaller exhausts, or smaller intakes and bigger exhausts, and I've done all that. And when you have the adjustability that you have in these, then you're fine. You talk about, you know, on a V8 with a single cam, the valve events need to be timed a bit, you know, because there's no adjustability anymore. So the overlap is fixed, and you're going to want to have, you know, a relatively even amount of overlap on both lobes when you reach TDC, things like that. But with AVCS, I can adjust it however I want, you know, and yeah, I've absolutely done that. From the same manufacturer a ton, because for a long time, and I still do on occasion, and that's actually what my cam design was initially designed off of, was I used a B intake and a C exhaust from Kelford. So an R199B intake, which is a smaller intake, and R199C exhaust, which was the larger exhaust cam. And with these Subarus, I found great results with the smaller intake and the larger exhaust for two reasons. One, I got to have more overlap when I wanted it, because I could advance that smaller cam all the way. But then also I had a bigger exhaust cam that was closing later anyway, so I was able to run more overlap than if I had just Bs. And then I could dial out all the overlap because I had the small intake, and I would have no overlap. But I still had a big exhaust cam to punch all the shit out when I needed it, so I could run a lot of power, big turbos on it, and have really, really wide power bands, which is why I did it. And I've had multiple people that I've told them, dude, run C intakes or B intakes and C exhaust, and they're like, what? But they trusted me and they did it, and they were very happy with the results. So yeah, I do that shit all the time. Let me turn this one off somehow. Oh yeah, I'll do it over here. So looking at my nose. Let's not, because that's my audio. That one provides way better audio than the laptop does. Okay, so the engine's running again. Let's flash the map on here. I want to make sure that that was all good. I want to make sure all my changes were saved and permanent. Rev's fine. Post start. Recovering well. I think we're good. I think we're good. And just in time, 7:30. My wife's coming off work soon, asking where I'm at. If she hasn't already, let me check my text messages. Oh, not yet. Now, my cams currently, even though I had that idea, the first version were not like that. The second version is bigger on the exhaust again. So the last version, the intakes were bigger than B's, smaller than C's on one lobe, bigger than C's on the other lobe. Because the Kelforids, they run different size lobes, which is what I love about them. And then the exhaust was basically the C. And then I needed more exhaust flow because my intake lobe was working so well, because I had such a fast ramp rate in this lobe with my oiling, I can get away with it. So now the new ones have an even bigger exhaust cam than I had before. So I'm excited for those. They're gonna be a good time. Tell her with Loretta, yeah. She'll be like, who the fuck? She'll come here and kick somebody's ass. All right, I gotta go. It's almost 7:30. Been on the dyno for many, many hours. It's the end of the day. I'm exhausted, and I'm gonna go. If you guys have any questions, feel free to come by the Discord. I say that almost every video, and I say it because I check Discord all the time. We have lots of good conversations, and if there's topics that we decide to make more threads on, I'll just add to the topic section and we talk more about it. You know, we do some shit talking here and there, but I try to keep that down to minimum. I don't let the guys harass each other too much. Try and keep it positive and a good environment. It's not a bunch of trolls like you see in other Discord channels or on Facebook groups and stuff like that. It's an overall positive atmosphere, or at least everyone's on the same page, bitching about the same thing if it comes down to it. So it's a good time. Like I said, it's good for gaming, good for learning tuning, good for shooting the shit, good for learning. I got guys in there that are body guys, I got guys in there like electronics guys, I got guys in there that are, you know, all kinds of stuff. So you can get all kinds of information from the group should you desire that. And of course I am there every day, mostly either in the mornings or the evenings, and sometimes in the middle of the day too. But I'm always there to answer questions if I'm doing tunes on the internet or doing business paperwork or playing Counter-Strike or whatever. I am not that far away. So email and Discord are the best ways to get a hold of me. But if you looking to get, if you're looking to learn stuff, Discord. If you're looking to talk business, email's the best for that. But that's it. So please feel free to stop by. If it's a good discussion, then I'll move it into a section for the educational people, the students that pay for the subscription to get into the educational section. I can add stuff in there to, you know, increase your level of knowledge in tuning, physics, whatever. We do all kinds of fun stuff in there, and nerdy stuff, and etc., etc. So anyways, that is it. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope you guys have a good day. And hopefully you picked up a few things on this this stream that were enlightening. And if not, sorry. Have a good night.